Mandy Green, and we are so glad you're joining our microlearning webinar today. If you've attended our previous webinars, you may notice this one looks a tad different. We've upgraded to the Zoom webinar feature for this event. All right, let's dive right in. We're going to be using that chat feature quite frequently today, so let's take a moment to get to know the chat functions. If you go to the bottom of your screen and click on chat, we can participate by sending a chat to all panelists and attendees. So in that chat box, let us know where you're joining the webinar from today. It's always so fun to see where everyone is joining from. We always have people from all across the state and sometimes even out of state. Oh, look, we have Amy from Dixon. We have Lindsay from Blanchard. Oh, there's quite a few Poto and Blanchard folks with us, a lot from OKCPS and OKC. We have some from Clinton, Keely from Alex, Carrie from Marietta. So we have people from all around the state with us today. That is awesome. Thanks so much for being here. I'd also like to introduce Kiana, who is driving our webinar for us today, and Bradley, who will be running tech support in the background. If you need any tech support from Bradley, just message him in the chat box by changing it to all panelists. And then you can type your question directly to him. I also have the fabulous K20 professional development team helping to moderate the chat box with me today because we have over 80 people in this webinar with us. It's great to see you all. That said, welcome to the Digital Citizenship and Student Privacy webinar. So today, we're going to talk about digital citizenship. And to get us thinking about this topic, let's create a collaborative word cloud. So complete this phrase. When I hear the words digital citizenship, the first word that pops in my head is, so take a moment and you're going to post your reply in Mentimeter. The link will be in the chat box, and there's a QR code on the screen that you can scan as well. You know, when I polled some of my friends earlier this week with this question, some of their responses included iPads, computer labs, technology. I'm seeing some in the chat box too that say safety, privacy. Let's pull up that collaborative word cloud in Mentimeter and see what some other responses are from today. Oh, look at all the responses already coming in. It looks like safety is the most popular word, followed by responsibility, respect, digital footprint. We have so many, caution, privacy again, technology. We have so many responses today. So hopefully that will help us to get to thinking about digital citizenship. You know, word clouds are such a great way to simplify ideas through visuals. And as we learn more about digital citizenship, let's keep this question in mind. How can we help students recognize the rights, responsibilities, and opportunities of living in a digitally connected world? You know, Common Sense Media states that digital citizenship is needed to fully participate in our communities and to make smart choices online and in life. So what exactly is digital citizenship? You know, according to DigCit Utah, digital citizenship is the norms of appropriate, responsible, and healthy behavior related to technology use, including digital literacy, ethics, etiquette, and security. But you may be asking, Mandy, why do we need to talk about this? Did you know teenagers spend on average 9 hours online each day? So when someone is spending that much time in a digital space, the term digital citizen really starts to make sense. So let's make it a little more personal. Imagine your dream job is open and you apply for it. Then you find out they're going to Google every candidate. If they were to Google your name, what types of results would they see? Would they see your professional portfolio? Would they see your Facebook result? What would you want them to see? You know, I think we all have seen the way celebrities and athletes and politicians have been impacted by their digital footprint. Many educators today assume that students know how to use technology because it's always been in their lives. In reality, many students are not as tech savvy as teachers might assume. Although students are very comfortable using technology, they may not understand how to use it instructionally or even how to use it to harness the power to pursue their passions. Everyone has a role in protecting student privacy. Since school is being done differently right now, we might need to think about student privacy differently. For example, many classes are starting to use Zoom or other video web applications. It may not be best practice to take a picture of your Zoom class meeting and then post it to social media where names and faces are all matched up. So let's think about this. What are some ways you are working to protect student privacy in our current educational environment? Share with us in the chat box what you're currently doing. I've heard a story about students taking Flipgrid videos and turning them into TikToks. And so the teacher had to turn on the moderation feature to protect student privacy in that situation. Or, Lindsay just posted in the chat, setting expectations for students in advance. That's a great idea. Now that we're using so many video applications like FaceTime, you might see a random parent or sibling or maybe something inappropriate in the background of the video. So set those norms and expectations as a teacher of how to use video. And then also maybe check out the blur feature or the virtual backgrounds. And if you want to know more about that, next Friday, Bradley will be hosting a virtual meeting etiquette webinar. So join us for that. I'm seeing lots of responses come in the chat box. So many I can't even keep up with them. But I'm seeing a lot about communication, privacy settings, absolutely. Reminding teachers not to take screenshots and sharing them. And if they do, to cover the face with emojis or black out the names. Lots of communication still coming in. Some people are even saying they don't share on social media. Elaine's talking about password protection, absolutely. Lindsay's talking about creating passwords for Zoom meetings. Exactly, that's a great way to limit those who have access to the meeting. Amy's talking about using the waiting room for Zoom. Absolutely, because then you have to admit them into your meeting. These are all great ways that you're starting to protect student privacy in our current educational environment. Many teachers are starting to use more and more technology to meet the educational needs of our students. And as we participate in this journey, here are a few considerations. Okay, so here come the educational acronyms. So maintain awareness of FERPA, COPPA, and SIPA. These are all acts which protect student educational records and protect students online. The U.S. Department of Educational Technology has so many resources on this topic. That will be linked in our resource document, which we'll share in just a bit. Then, don't forget to check out your district technology policies and procedures. Many districts offer online and virtual education guidelines. So be sure to check with probably your curriculum department, technology, maybe your ed tech department to find these policies and make sure you are operating within the parameters of the policies. That leads us to using ed tech tools. Check to see if your district has a list of recommended apps or websites. Many districts do have a preferred list. Some districts even have them set up inside of a single sign-on program, such as Clever, to make them easy to access. And that's a great starting point. This is not the time to go crazy and try a million different new ed tech tools. Because did you know that in 2019, data breach incidences increased by 256%? Wow. That leads us to the next point. We need to vet our educational tech tools. Knowing which ed tech tools are effective and ensure student privacy can be a tad daunting. And then also knowing what data the tools collect, share, and track is important as well. So we must work to ensure that the tools we're using are age appropriate for our educational task, and are a good fit for our students and ourselves as professional educators. Because as we know, not all tools are created equal. Also, providing options for students for projects and tasks. Providing students a choice in how a project is created is just as important in providing a choice in how the project is submitted. So think about ways to provide different opportunities. Some students may want to publish something to social media or online, while some may need to submit it in a more private manner. And talking about that, that leads us to think. So before we post or share anything, we need to think, which stands for, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And earlier I mentioned that resource document. So we want to jump in there very quickly, and we will put the link in the chat box. So just to share a few of the resources. The first one we have is Common Sense Media, which has been a long-standing resource hub for digital citizenship and student safety. We've also added a digital breakout, which is about digital citizenship that you can complete. A digital breakout is kind of like an escape room or a puzzle where you have to find the answers to unlock the form. You can just make a copy of that form and you can use that exact same site with your students. It's ready to go for you. All right, y'all. So we have crammed a lot of information in 10 minutes and just skimmed the surface. So let's take a moment to reflect. So we're going to use that what, so what, now what instructional strategy. So grab a piece of paper or a Google Keep note and answer these 3 questions. 1, what did we discuss today? 2, so what? Why is this important to me? And 3, now what? What am I going to do with this information? Or what implications does it have to me as a professional educator? Then, once you have your now what response, share it with us in the chat box to all panelists and attendees. There are so many resources dealing with digital citizenship and student privacy and safety. There is no way we could take a deep dive into all of that in these 10 to 15 minutes together. So today we just skimmed the surface and we're sharing with others some ideas and ways that we have solved these problems. So let's see what some of our friends are going to do with this information now. Oh, I see Lindsay is going to dive into some of the resources and identify one that she can use in her next meeting. Looks like Casey is going to present this updated info with staff. Kathy is going to make a plan for the safety of students involved. Tracy's going to use it to build my Google Classroom. Awesome. Another Lindsay is going to ask her peers about what's working well. Bradley's going to update some of the sharing permissions. Oh, that's for the document. Diana's going to share with some of the other instructors and look at some of the policies currently in place. There are so many things coming in the chat box. This is great. Share with teachers and admins. Jackie's going to do that, and to remind teachers about good privacy settings. So as you can see, there's a ton of stuff coming in, and this is just starting to stir the pot so we can start having a conversation and help others. So as we wrap up today's webinar, what questions do you still have? Type them in the chat box. We'll see if we can get to them. Oh, I'm still seeing responses coming from before. Lots of sharing. Great. We're all in this together. All right. Oh, Kathy asked, how do you effectively vet tools? There's many ways. I will say Common Sense Media does have a list of tools that have been vetted, where it already talks about the privacy settings and security settings that go along with that tool. It talks about any age restrictions, So that's a really good place to start. All right. So this was super fast and furious micro-learning webinar. And we want to thank you for spending your 15-minute lunchtime with us today.